I now, with great pleasure, yield on as much of this history as he cares to is Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, and author of Defeating Big Government Socialism, Saving America's Future. I yield to the great, honorable, and brilliant Speaker Newt Gingrich. Newt, we can talk history, we can talk politics, we can do any darn thing you feel like doing.
Well, I mean, let me say, I think you covered a lot of the ground pretty darn well. There were 14 multiple ballot speakerships. The longest one was actually 1855, when it took 2 months and 133 ballots. Now, I don't think we're going to get to that. But I have to tell you, I've been watching C-SPAN more intently today than any time in a very, very long time. And I was impressed that even when the rebels decided to consolidate around Jim Jordan, who, of course, had just nominated Kevin McCarthy, the number of votes didn't change. They didn't get any new votes. So I'm looking to the third, fourth, and fifth ballots to see what's going to happen. My guess is that McCarthy, in fact, will in the end be Speaker. I wrote a newsletter recently pointing out that it was Kevin or chaos because, I mean, if for any reason the radicals were to somehow be able to drive him out, they would have established a precedent that anybody else can do the same thing. Lincoln warned about this in his first inaugural and said, the problem with secession is once you establish that right, everybody can secede from everybody. Well, the 5 who started this fight have now given every other member of the House Republican Party the moral right to go out and find 4 friends and have the same chaos. And I think that's why the conference has been overwhelmingly solid, and they're still overwhelmingly solid, even with Jim Jordan's name, and Jordan is certainly a very serious person. The numbers didn't change at all. They got 19, Kevin got 202. That means he's getting better than 10 votes for every vote the rebels can put together. And I think they have no end game. These people can't play tic-tac-toe. And I think that's part of the problem is they've gotten themselves, they're like the dog that caught the bus. They've gotten themselves in this position. They can't get out of it. And if Kevin is prepared to calmly and cheerfully wait them out, at some point their districts are going to start calling them and saying, you know, what are you doing? Why are you ruining the Republican Party?
Newt, you know, it just seems to me, and I've been in touch, I know you're all over this thing. I've been out for a week or so, but I've been in touch a lot in the last 48 hours to friends of mine who are House members or senior staff. It just seems to me, Newt, this is about personalities, not policies. And I don't like things to be about personalities. I don't like things to ever get personal. Politics, you know, should be a noble profession done with civility. I know you've always fought for that your whole career. There are issues. Let's stay with the issues. The GOP has a very good commitment to America. I'd just like to see him get started on it.
Well, you know, when Jim Jordan got up and nominated Kevin in the second round, he gave a very eloquent speech. I tweeted how good I thought it was. And he made the point that the American people elected this Republican majority to do very serious things that are very important to America's future. And that these guys are, frankly, really violating the entire reason that conservatives and Republicans work so hard. And remember, on the House side, we got 3.5 million more votes than the Democrats. So Kevin legitimately can claim to speak for a majority. And I think it was very important to recognize that this is not a game. I am told by a pretty good source that last night several of these folks went in to see Kevin, and they had a whole new list of 30 items, some of which were frankly pretty embarrassingly venal. Who ought to be put on appropriations? Who ought to be put on rules? Who ought to get to chair something? I mean, talk about people who are basically trying to blackmail. And remember, they're not blackmailing Kevin McCarthy. They're blackmailing a Republican conference in which 85% of the conference voted for McCarthy over his competitor. And normally, in every society I know of, 85% is a pretty big majority. And normally, you'd find people coming together. So I don't know how long this will take. I do think in the end McCarthy will become Speaker. And for one thing, he's going to have a lot higher name ID than he would have had without this fight.
Well,
and it'll be interesting to watch. He has a very serious plan, as you know, to really change things.
No, I don't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say, you know, in some ways, there are benefits to this because the whole world is now watching, and Kevin McCarthy has become a household word. And as long as they spell the name right, it's going to work out okay. I believe it's going to work out okay. Whereas before this, it was a small thing. Now it's a gigantic thing. And I don't want to hear anybody tell me it doesn't matter who whether the Republicans took the House. I don't want to hear that anymore. This takes all that stuff away, puts it on the front page, and what they're going to do to make changes and blunt the Biden radical agenda also becomes part of that front page story.
That's right. And all I would say is I'd appeal to everybody watching. If you're in the district of one of these so-called rebels, pick up the phone and call their office. I mean, what they're doing is so destructive and candidly so stupid. They have no end game. They haven't thought through what they're doing, and they're throwing the equivalent of a temper tantrum. And I think the more they hear from back home, the more people say to them, let's get on with doing America's business, not grandstanding.
Yes.
The sooner this will end.
100%. Newt Gingrich, terrific stuff. As always, America's business.
Good.
By the way, Newt, I don't think you were around either, but I thought Thomas Jefferson was way too liberal, giving 5 votes to vacate the chair. That really is, I don't know how you run the place on that basis.
Look, I counseled him against it. I said, Tom, this is not the way you ought to go. And he said, Newt, I'm just not going to listen to you.
That's fabulous. Newt Gingrich, you are the best. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to Ambassador Callista.
Happy New Year.
It's wonderful to see you.